I was frustrated with that because I was like, no, 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 these are good points. They need to be substantiated better. And I jumped in and pushed back on it and started, doing what I could to push back on it. Then Lav jumps on, and that I was defending her for that whole portion until she finally turned on me when I pushed back on one thing about a claim that she made. And I just pushed back saying, look, based on what you had done before, this isn't a good argument that you can make. And she said, look, Zonia, I know you're pissed off at me because I'm a turf now and you think I'm a transphobe. And I had never cared about that shit. Never cared, didn't give a shit, wasn't on my mind. This is her being a bad faith fucking retard when I'm sitting there actually trying to make the case for her to push back against the pedo jacketing of her. So she's the one who started this whole fucking thing. And it's her carrying that on afterward, talking to Stephen about it, framing it as though I'm going on a limb there, jumping on a stream to bully her in that case as like as a rite of passage to get Steven's praise. That's her doing her usual fucked up shit, smearing people, making up stories about people, lying as usual. So yeah, it wasn't going to be very charitable to her when we finally met on Tuna Chip Stream. Hang on one second.
Yeah. Yeah.
Also, hi, Rezi. Welcome back from the dead.
I'm just coming in to clear up the disinformation.
Okay, I don't care about this, so I'm done with
Actually, I do fucking care, Katie. Shut the fuck up. Okay?
I just want to leave.
No, you just want to... What do you want? Are you just going to leave or what?
Yes!
Okay, then cool. Go. Cool.
Right. No, okay, let's keep it together here. Katie, let's let Reservoir do his thing for now.
Katie wants to leave. Let her go.
No, I just mean that, like, you guys are just discussing whether bullying is even, like, an issue, and I don't care about that. I don't feel like I need to prove bullying is bad.
I just wanted to clear up because I think that, like, there was a mischaracterization. I didn't confront Sick about the pedo allegations. I was confronting Sick about the Nazi allegations. Okay?
Oh,
It was like, yeah, and then it evolved into the pedo stuff. Because then Sick called her a pedo in chat, then she called him a pedo because of what PBLC was saying. So yeah.
Also, Katie, we're not justifying bullying. We're arguing over whether or not it even is bullying because of the rise of escalation.
100% bullying.
There is a big ethical question right now. Lav wants to be added to the call.
Yeah, you should do that. I'll stick around.
What about the people
I have no
who are? We have an anti-bullying person here and a person who says that we should be cutting them off. I kind of advocated for, like, I think it would be good for us to act as bartenders and cut people off when we think that they're
what do you want to do,
Zonia? Themselves.
I don't infantilize people. I think if they want to engage, they can engage.
I have nothing to say on this, so I will just moderate so it doesn't turn into a complete crap show like it did last time.
So she's not somebody who can be moderated.
Well, hand over the what do
There's
you call
no
it?
perms in
It's a group chat. It's a group
doesn't
chat.
somebody own the group chat? Like isn't
so none of us can mute anyone?
Either way.
Correct.
No, it does, yeah, but it doesn't.
Then
it
let's
doesn't
just
matter,
move to a server and have someone have the mute button.
We can be big boy adults.
It's not about us being adults. It's the person you claim that can't be an adult.
It's if you guys want to just jump in my server, I can.
Zonia, do you want to?
Sure, why not?
Whatever you want.
All right, so we're doing Tom's server.
Yeah,
sure.
I'll post it in the group.
All right,
that's fine.
Ooh, I do like that PFP though. That's good.
Oh, yeah, that's a really good one. Yeah.
Yeah, I like it.
Thank you. Shaylin drew it for me. She's very talented.
I like it.
Yeah.
It's like really outsider style. I like it.
Is the man there your husband?
It's portrait of us. Yeah.
Okay, cool. I'm just gonna go refill my water bottle.
Go ahead.
The lab was.
If I could say something
specific,
quickly.
yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, for one, this like framing of me being like completely crazy, it's like just not true. The fact that, before I even come on, Zonia tries to do this like she's unmoderatable or she's insane, all she does is lie,
I don't think
this
you're
is
insane.
all framing.
I think you're quite sane. I think you're very sane. I don't think you're mentally ill at all.
Okay, well, you were yesterday talking to Gammy about how I was the most cluster B person. Like, so what's the truth?
Wait, no, I wasn't.
Am I not
wasn't
mentally
saying
ill?
that.
Am I severely? You
No.
did say that. I have screenshots of you talking about it with Gammy, about saying that I was possibly histrionic, that I was the most cluster B person in the space. So now you're lying.
Yeah, you may have a personality disorder. It doesn't make you mentally ill.
That is definitionally
I think
mentally ill, Zonia.
I would like to clarify.
I'd like to clarify.
Is a mental disorder.
I do not.
But you exhibit traits of it.
Can I
but
finish?
I do not think that you're mentally ill. When you say that you're mentally ill and that is the reason why you do certain things, I disagree with that. I do not think that is truthful.
Would you say that you don't think she's mentally unstable?
Can I finish?
Yeah, let her finish. Hold on, let her finish saying what she was saying.
Yeah, statement by statement, guys.
I am not BPD. I have been in psychiatry and psychology, and I've seen all the professionals known to man to get my autism diagnosis. I do not have BPD.
Okay.
I think
but you
that
may be
what
autistic,
you're probably
though.
saying. I am autistic.
Here, I'm going to post something in the chat.
You don't have
Tom.
BPD?
I do not have BPD. No.
When did you find that out?
Tom, could you pull up on the screen what I posted in the chat?
Yeah, because I thought you said at some point that you had, but maybe I was mistaken.
When I was 14, I was misdiagnosed with BPD, not most women, but a lot of women with autism are.
Yeah.
And you can't get a formal diagnosis at 14. But it's sort of like tentative. So then when I turned 19, when you can get an actual professional diagnosis of BPD, that is when I went on the journey of finding out what was wrong with me.
Okay.
Yeah, hold on.
So when people when people say that you have BPD was because you said you were diagnosed at 14, even though it's unethical to do so, and you were misdiagnosed.
I think that's probably some of it. I think a lot of it also is the way that I've behaved in these spaces. And I think that the way that I've behaved in these spaces is pretty. I mean, when you look at the controversies surrounding me, the way that people speak about me, if you just go on TudLogic's page right now, you'll see 17 videos with the worst shit and just horrible comments, and that's a sentiment of how most people treat me and speak to me in this space.
Okay.
That is completely abusive and harassment. And I think that I've acted the way that anyone in my position or anyone in the position that I'm in would act accordingly. And all doing this while I have very limited social skills as an autistic woman, and all while I'm trying to navigate my own life, right? And so then, from the beginning of me and Zonia and I had a great conversation a couple months ago, where we talked about gender and I was at the beginnings of my peaking in feminism, and I had been a TRA for months and years, and then I was starting to sort of wake up to it, and now I'm fully peaked. So I'm a TERF. I'm a certified transphobe. And so then our first negative interaction was with Sick.
Congrats.
I said yikes.
Oh, I thought you said congrats.
No, I said yikes.
Continue.
My first negative interaction with Zonia was on the Sick thing, where Zonia keeps saying that she came on to defend me in some way. That it just didn't go that way, right? It didn't feel that way.
Yeah.
It didn't
feel that way. It just wasn't that way. It wasn't. You called me retarded. You said that
after you went after me. I literally was defending you. Reservoir and Katie both.
Yeah, to be fair, we were trying to say that you weren't a pedophile. That's what Zonia initially came
on. And all the while, all the while, Zonia was being extremely patronizing.
Not true.
Okay, I felt that Zonia was being extremely patronizing, and extremely rude. So I acted out, obviously, and then that was our first negative interaction. Weeks pass. I talk to Max, and I'm saying basically, well, I don't think it's a secret that if you shit on me right now because of the controversy and attention attached to my name, that you get a lot of likes, you get a lot of favor, you get a lot of whatever, especially in the scope of Steven's orbit, right? That's not a crazy thing to say.
But you made a much more specific claim than that. You made the
so
claim
that you would become
that we get orbiter status from taking digs at you and going after you, and you also likened it to being a hazing process. You likened it to a hazing process.
Well, I meant
you need to slow this down. Like there's already been a lot of claims, and I think I was there in the conversation with you and Zonia too. So was Rez. Like, shouldn't we address that first before we go? Further?
No, I don't think so.
Why not?
I think
let's go ahead and address that.
I think you should let me get it all out because you guys have been talking about me for how long?
You've had plenty of time to get it all out on.
I don't think that that's true.
So let's go ahead and cover the claim that you just made. Because the thing is, Tom, let me explain something to you.
Just let me hold on. Just let me throw this out. Hold on. If she's gonna throw out like a bunch of stuff, can she not throw it all out and then we start from the beginning?
Write it down.
No, because the problem is that she does this every time and will make up new things every time she throws a bunch of things out, and then we have to do the whole thing of crap. We need to dredge up a whole bunch of evidence and push back on it. This is what she does. You've seen this, Tom. You've been
What is
over
the
her
first thing that
before.
you're trying to push back against?
The whole interaction on 6.
She was saying. I said okay. I said that I felt like Zonia was being patronizing, which I don't think is like that fucking crazy to say. Even if you weren't patronizing, I'm not even gonna concede. I felt that you were. I felt that you were patronizing me, which is why I acted out. I wouldn't if I didn't feel like you weren't being patronizing. I would have acted out at you. I wouldn't have acted out at you. That's just true.
You literally said that I was just bitter with you because that you had now become a turf. That was what you had said at the time.
And why did I say you were bitter? What actions had you done for me to say that?
Nothing. I didn't care that you were a turf.
That's pretty convenient. That's pretty convenient.
Okay.
Maybe we can ask the 2 other people who were there.
One of my best friends in the space is Big Papa Fascist, a total fucking transphobe. I don't care if you're transphobic. I don't care if you're a turf. I don't care about any of that shit. You could be as transphobic as you want to me. Doesn't mean anything to me. I don't give a shit about that stuff.
Great.
So I don't know how you fabricated this out of thin air. I never cared. The problem is the problem with your claim is that then you went to Max and you said that I went on there to take digs at you, which isn't true, and you know that isn't true. Just because you feel that I might have been patronizing at some point during the call,
when
you know that I was there pushing back on 6 framing of you being a pedophile.
Zonia, the problem here is that you want me to substantiate everything I say at all times, but you
make
are
shit up all the time.
I do not get. So do you, Zonia. You said I was abusing my fucking cat.
Yes, you were abusing your cat, and I've got the video evidence, and I put it up there. We have all seen it. Everybody has seen it. Yes, you abuse your cat.
I do not abuse my cats. I talked to you about this with Tuna.
Anyways,
I've never
I have the video evidence. I put it up there. It's up there now because I unprivate it because of the shit that you said about me recently.
You're being
anyways, back to it.
Okay.
You made a claim.
Zonia,
you made a claim that is completely false.
Hold on.
Let you respond because
she's tried responding twice, and both times you've.
Well, because now she's going to go and make some claims on top of that, and so I'm.
Yes, but she has to.
So I'm sticking to something. Yeah, but Tom, I'm sticking to the initial claim, which is that she said that I went on there to take digs at her, which she knows is false. Whether or not she thinks I was being patronizing later on in the call is a separate question altogether. So let's stick to that.
Clear that up.
Whoever has the powers, can I please speak for a little? Just please.
Just let her respond. Go ahead.
Fine.
So what you're seeing right now is when Zonia said that, when she was coming on to 6 panel, this is the same way that she was talking to me. She was saying that I was beginning to be a lol cow, to not. Okay. Okay. You can go back and watch that video. Okay.
Yeah, we can go back and watch it. We could do it now if you want.
Zonia has always spoke to me like this. She's not let me talk. She's called me crazy.
That is not true at all. That is not true at all. We have video evidence of wonderful converstions between you and me.
After that conversation, it has been a nonstop pageantry of infantilizing me and both villainizing me all these claims that are ridiculous. If we want to talk about the cat video, before I was ever into politics, I was a comedy TikToker. Okay, I got as many followers as I did because I was a comedian and it was dark humor. Okay, the joke was that my cat was so tame. The joke was that my cat was so tame I could do whatever I wanted with my cat because he was like a ragdoll cat, right? Someone asked me, how do you get him so tame? And so I made a joke video, a sarcastic joke video about how to dominate your cat so that you can do anything with them. It was a complete joke. My cat was 25 pounds, huge, big, fluffy, sweet boy. We never got in a fight. And even if I'm having a hard time also, like if I was actually abusing my cat, why would I go on to an extremely public platform to self-report on me committing a crime or an atrocity? At that point, I was known for being someone who fostered kittens. I've fostered multiple litters of kittens. I have a ton of animals. I'm known as an animal lover. This whole claim is ridiculous. I didn't even think that it was in earnest until we talked and then I learned that it was real. But anyway, like I said about, I've never abused my animals. I will say that on record. But yeah, when Zonia says, I'm being so kind, Zonia probably thinks that she's being kind to me now. And I don't take it that way.
I didn't know. I'm just being very serious with you right now. I'm not being kind.
Okay.
I'm not really caring about
kindness. Okay, but this is the way that you were speaking to me then, and it's very patronizing.
That is not actually true. We can go through that video if you want.
Can I just?
I was on your side. I was fighting against sick.
Confirm or deny?
No, you're reframing this.
It's very simple. We have two people who are here. Is this how this? At the beginning of the call, when Zonia entered the call, was her attitude towards Lav?
Wait, beginning. Wait. It's not the beginning.
To defend her. No,
wait, it doesn't matter
because
it is because your claim is that I went onto the call to take
the framing of the call is that you said that Zonia did not come to defend you, and she is saying she did. So is that how she entered the call, Rezi, to defend Lav or no?
So yeah, Zonia was making a general defense that we shouldn't be pedojacketing people without like actual evidence, which is kind of what I was arguing with Sick about, like to begin with, and that's how it started. It did quickly devolve, but that was how it started.
Okay, so it devolved because I would assume Zonia is going to say Lav's actions, yes?
Well, I would probably say the same thing vice versa.
Sure.
Yeah. Yeah, I would say probably, yeah, that sounds about right. I mean, that's my guess is that, yeah, both will say that it turned because of that. I mean, whether it is like, whatever the truth is there, I mean, you have to look at it. I don't really think it just kind of turns, like that's just, I think, how these conversations often go is that they just start turning and you don't really turn back from it, So I don't really know who escalated entirely, but I mean, I couldn't remember exactly. So
Zonia, is there something that Lav said that made you think that the conversation turned? Is it something specific?
I didn't think the conversation really turned. It was just that suddenly out of nowhere. So I had pushed back on something that she had said and it was me just trying to be nice. And I was just I said something along the lines of like, I don't think this is a good argument for you to make in this case. And here's why. And then she said, look, Zonia, I know you don't like me, that this is personal for you. That just came out of nowhere. I didn't even know why. It had surprised the heck out of me because I thought that we were still we weren't on good terms, but like there wasn't like bitter terms. So I was under the impression that everything was fine. We weren't talking anymore, but that was, but there was nothing else beyond that. So that's just shocked the heck out of me when she said that. And then when she did it a second time, a little bit later, she said that it was specifically having to do with the fact that she was a TERF now and that I was angry about her being a TERF, which blew my mind even more because I don't give a shit about that kind of stuff. It doesn't mean anything to me.
So, Lav, why did you think that?
Because up until that moment, me and Zonia had just been completely pleasant. So I made an assumption based off of not knowing who Zonia was, and I don't think that that's a crazy assumption. All of a sudden, this person is coming in and being very antagonistic to me, or I felt was being very antagonistic to me, and it comes days after me of like being, announcing myself as fully fledged a TERF. So I don't think that that's like a crazy thing to assume. If I was wrong, if I was wrong, then I was wrong. But I don't like if we're getting really caught up on like that statement, I just like don't really see the utility.
Can I try to build a bridge?
Yeah, go ahead.
So,
no,
well,
Zonia.
no, hold on. I'm just gonna say I don't care about bridges anymore. So
Well, sure.
you could try to build a bridge, but I don't really care about bridges anymore.
Okay,
I'm kind of
it's
done.
not the bridge is not for you, so it's.
I'm gonna
for
be.
Lav. Okay.
I'm gonna try to be nice, but yeah, go ahead.
Okay, go ahead, Kate.
I think that since me and Rezi were both on that call, and as far as me and Rezi are concerned, we both know that Zonia came in with the explicit intent of defending you from Sick basically
Sure.
jacketing you. Wait.
Sure.
And let's say that you felt like Zonia was being hostile to you during that conversation. Okay. Maybe it would be the best way to move forward to just be like, maybe I interpreted how Zonia treated me in that conversation and I got the wrong impression and I lashed out in a way, and that unfortunately caused like more grief between us, and then we can just put that aside, because then that's you saying, yeah, maybe I fucked up, and then we just move on.
I think she's already saying that. I think she's already pretty much saying that. Yeah, she's already saying that. So Zonia,
but also
yeah, go ahead.
I think we're getting really caught up in why Zonia came on the call, and we're not talking about like the things that transpired during the call to make me go on to tell then Max that I felt like it was an initiation process to retain some social status in Destiny's orbit or in Chud's orbit, or to gain favor in Twitch poll.
How can you guys
in
say
any way?
she's done that if now we're back here? No, okay.
Katie, Zonia has made content on me for weeks now, and her views are the highest they've ever been. It is not hard to assume that.
I understand.
That wasn't the case at the time, though, right? So I didn't start doing the content
but I
on
was
you
right.
until after your convo with Max.
Okay, I was right though. Like this isn't whether or not
you literally just gave that as the reason. You literally just gave that as the reason for you believing that. But at the time, that didn't exist. That wasn't a condition at the time.
Okay, whether or not consciously you made that effort, it is what happened. What I was talking about with Max
is not what actually happened.
That there was an initiation process. And the more
nothing to do with content or numbers or anything. That condition did not exist at the time.
Zonia,
I didn't start doing content on you until after you talked to Matt. It has nothing to do with me doing it consciously or unconsciously. You were hold on, Lav. You were fabricating a condition that didn't exist at the time. You couldn't have judged that at the time because that condition didn't exist. I didn't do the
Zonia,
content
I was
on
talking
you.
about
And
my
stop for a second. Mute up, Tom, for a second so I can complete my thought. You didn't. I did not start making content on you until after you talked to Max, when you came to him with that thing that you're now qualifying with this condition that didn't exist before then. You say that you went to Max for that and believed that at the time because of the condition that I was making content out of you and getting high numbers for it. That condition did not exist until after you came to talk to Max about that situation. So you can't use that as a qualifier for you going to Max with that belief in mind. It did not exist. You're post hoc justifying it. Anyways, I'm done.
Okay, so when I was talking to Max, clearly a lot of it was like feelings, right? Like clearly a lot of it was how I felt in the space, how I felt about Steven, how I felt about everything. You're asking me to justify logically how I felt and then what ended up transpiring. What I felt at the time was that you came on, you shit on me, and that you were going to get rewarded for it, which you did, right? So whether or not you subconsciously or consciously, accidentally or on purpose did this thing, my call and the way that it felt was completely correct. Okay,
I didn't accidentally or unconsciously do anything. That's the thing. You're going back and you're claiming something that is massive. And not only that, you're still claiming something that you cannot justify. It has nothing to do with about me unintentionally or intentionally or unwittingly doing anything. You're talking about something that didn't actually happen. Now you're talking about feelings. I grant you that your feelings could have been misguided. That is fine. But all the conditions you're using to justify it now, these are post hoc justifications.
Okay, what I felt at that time was that you intentionally did that. If
Yes,
you're telling me that you did
distorted.
not intentionally do it, I will say okay. I will say okay, you did not intentionally do it.
I didn't do anything.
Actionably, the community, the same community that bolsters any hate of me, bolstered you. They retweet your tweets about me. They like your tweets about me, and you are
Wait, who was
cementing
retweeting my tweets?
you
Which
are
community?
cementing yourself in the
Which
space
community was retweeting
in
my
which
tweets?
in which I said I feared would happen, and in which I was expressing fear about happening.
Wait, this is all current. We're talking about what happened at the time for the conditions. Those things didn't exist at the time. None of those existed. Tweets
Okay,
about you
I
didn't
already
exist.
said, Zonia, I already said at the time it felt like it was intentional.
So
If
it
you are
felt
saying
like
it was
something that
not,
was based on nothing. Literally, there were no tweets. All
you're
right.
trying. Okay.
Hold on, Zonia.
Wait,
She's
wait,
saying
wait.
that she's willing to let it go, though. She's saying that that's just how she
No,
felt.
but
And
the
if you're
problem is
saying
she's
that's
willing
not
to
the
let
case,
it go
she's
based on
saying, Tom.
she is trying to
Wait,
frame it as though
wait,
these
hold on, Jamie,
conditions
that
existed and I
absolutely is
did
what I'm
something.
saying.
no, she
I-
is saying that she's willing to let
So
it go.
Zonia-
If you say
so
that's
Zonia,
not
very
what it
simply,
was,
But the
you do
she's
not
willing to
but
let
the
it
problem
go.
is
That's all she's
Tom. But the problem is Tom. She's trying to say that she's going to let it go on the basis that I actually did these things, none of which those conditions existed at the time. These are conditions that existed after
she's
she
not.
talked to
She's
Matt.
No,
saying
I
if
said
you
I-
say
you
that's
said it's
not the
your
case,
intention.
Hold on. May
she's
I
saying
just-
that if you
I
say that's
can-
not the
hold on.
case, then she's willing to say that that
Wait,
wasn't the
stop
case and
translating
move
for
on
me.
past that.
No, because she's saying it
Hold
that
on.
I was
Even
doing it
translate. You just
unwittingly or
said it
un.
one
Okay,
Zonia,
sorry.
Zonia,
Lav,
Yeah.
Stop
what
translating
did
for
you
me.
say?
If that is the case, that it was not your intention, I'm sorry that I
didn't.
said it. Okay.
All right.
If that
What
is
was
the
not my
case, that it was
intention?
not intentional for you
come shit
to
on Lav.
come shit on me to join Steven's orbit, I apologize for the implication of your virtue, right?
Okay.
I don't think that, obviously, you are, I assume, are upset because that paints you in not being genuine, and obviously you value trying to be genuine, right? To me, what it felt
Yes.
like was not that. So when you say it's not based in reality, it doesn't need to be based in reality. It was a feeling, and it was me expressing that feeling to Max.
Yes,
It
but
doesn't
part
have.
of
It doesn't.
part of the claim of people in this space about you taking responsibility is that if you're not saying, it's fine that you have feelings. I understand that. I'm not saying that you're not allowed to have them. But now if we understand, and you're on board with your feelings were distorted compared to reality, then part of taking responsibility for that would be to say, yes, I felt that way, but that was obviously a misinterpretation of
no.
mine.
I'm not going to say it was obviously. It wasn't obviously a misinterpretation of mine. It was something that I got wrong, I guess, but it like nothing was obvious. When you tell me to completely disregard my feelings about the situation, I just don't see the health and utility of that. You want me to debase myself and
Hold on.
So,
hold on.
Lav,
No.
wait. Let me finish. Come on, Parallax. Just give me a
What
second.
you're essentially saying is that your feelings don't have to map onto reality. That's like that's not true.
Such an inflammatory way of saying this.
No, it's absolutely what she's saying.
Wait.
Like your feelings absolutely have
Wait,
to map
hold
onto
on.
the reality of the situation.
No, they don't. Especially if I can go back now and say, if that wasn't true, I'm sorry. Feelings absolutely do not have to be rooted in reality. I don't know what the fuck you're saying. Most feelings are not rooted in reality. But if I can go back and say, if I can go back and say, you know what? If I was wrong, then I was wrong, and I'm sorry. What the fuck else can you do? You guys trying to justify whether or not my feeling was based on reality is like weird debate broing me out of my feeling.
Yeah, I feel like we should move past that then. If she's saying that she's willing to say, like, if that's not the case, then it's not the case, and she's leaving that part alone, then I think it's best to just leave it alone and move past that.
Okay, the clarification is helpful. The fact that you went and clarified that the feeling of me intentionally going on there to take digs at you to get favor from Stephen was your feeling at the time, and that's the thing you're clarifying. Yeah, and I'll say no, I had no intention of that. I already had permissions in Stephen's server months before that. It's not what that wasn't my intention at all. I went on there expressly to push back on 6 framing of you because I felt that it was potentially very harmful.
Okay, I believe you. I think that it's also very hard, and at the time when I was talking to Max, and it's still hard for me to understand right now, is why there's so much traction when someone talks about me. I mean, I know it's because that I'm disliked in the space, but it's hard to like explain and examine all of like the intricacies of how these people are bolstered, how people can make whole platforms off of hating me, whole careers off of hating me, off of drama channels, you know, following my every move. It's like very it all feels like an initiation process into like this bigger Twitchable sphere, and I think that that's accurate.
What do you mean, like the hating on you is part of the initiation, or what?
Yeah, the making content on me, hating me, you know, vitriolic, you know, misogyny on Twitter. I mean, all of it. Even in like voice chat. Sometimes I'll join like a voice chat in like not so erudite server, and someone will like talk shit on me, and then you know everyone in the VC like cheers, and I'm just like, ugh, like, and these people don't even know me. Like none of these people have ever spoken to me.
But you understand that's not the case with everybody, right?
Yeah.
Sure. I think I'm having, like I said, I think it's a hard thing to explain everything that's like going on, right? Because I'm just
I've
like
been pretty good
the
faith with
person
you since we've met, Lav,
experiencing
right?
some of it. What?
I've been pretty good faith with you and fair to you since we've met, right?
Sure. I think that you're one of the few.
Okay. I guess I can't really fight against that. Thanks.
So if
Yeah,
that if that starting point is put behind us, like does that explain everything that came afterwards then?
So with the past like couple like days or whatever, so obviously there was the you know, the time where Zonia came on after, you know, she accused me of abusing my animals, which if you've ever been, first of all, if you love your animals as much as I do, and someone just off of the only basis being a comedic TikTok tells you and tells the world that you are like an animal abuser, you're gonna be pretty fucking pissed, right? So I'm already pissed. You know, Zonia comes on to talk to Tuna Tip. Tuna Tip? Hold on. Accessing files. Tuna Tip. And you know, then goes on this like rant for 30 minutes saying that I'm a lol cow and I just sort of have to sit there and like try not to cry because if I cry it looks worse and then I become even a bigger lol cow, and then I'm like trying to fix, you know, I'm trying to find my footing, my standing. I'm trying to choose whether or not to be aggressive back, if that looks better, if it looks bad, if I'm, you know, sticking up for myself appropriately, if I'm, you know, what, there are all these things that go through your head in a moment like that, which was, I mean, it seemed pretty senseless. Like the 30-minute rant about me being a lol cow just seems senselessly fucking mean. And it was after accusing me of it, you know, abusing my cat. So it was out of like, it was just, I don't know, like I just didn't, I mean, even after that, I think I like hurled abuse back at her when I was like, "You're jealous of my bio pussy." It was like, which was like funny, right? Like, like none of it, you know. Some of it was funny, some of it was just like outright rude. I apologized to Zonia afterwards. She apologized to me, because it was just like, it was just weird. The whole interaction was weird and like, just like needlessly toxic. And then, you know, days pass and you know, I see that Zonia's still like responding to tweets about me, and then Zonia like messages me and is like, I'm going to remove this video of you, and I'm like, oh, okay. And then I see that, you know, Zonia's tweeting negatively about me again, and then you know, Zonia then makes a remark that, which is a completely gendered remark, that I'm a washed up porn star. And
Plenty
I'm
of
like,
male
okay,
porn stars.
okay, but you know, most porn stars are female, and the term washed up is pretty exclusively used to females. So it was a completely gendered insult. And I'm sitting there like, okay, this 45-year-old man who identifies as a woman is spewing just like misogyny at me. And I'm just like, and this is who wants to be respected in women's spaces?
Okay, stop with this. Okay, hold off for a second. Let's address some of this. So after we kind of patched things up, even though it was pretty heated afterward in that conversation, that 9-hour conversation that we were in, yeah, I was like, well, she's getting a lot of shit. I saw what was going on. You were getting bombarded all over the place. Everybody was covering it. And so I went ahead and I extended an olive branch and said, hey, I'm deleting my tweets about you. And I took down the video. right? And I did those things. So what happened was, and Gami tweeted out a picture of Katie, and said, "This person is the new Lav," something like that. And you replied to that saying "male misogyny moment," which none of that was misogynistic. Nothing had to do with it being gendered or anything
Comparing
like that.
an annoying woman to an annoying woman is absolute misogyny. It just is.
No, it's nothing about that that's
Okay,
misogynistic.
I
Nothing
don't
about it that's
expect you to
gendered.
fully comprehend misogyny as a
Um,
45-year-old man.
and I don't expect you to comprehend it either. Even Brianna Wu says you don't understand misogyny.
Brianna Wu is
And she's
also
been
a
around.
50-year-old
She's been
fucking
around.
man.
She's been around fighting for second wave feminism since before you were born.
Yes, second wave feminism is retarded, and Brianna Wu is also a man.
All your claims
Brianna
are
Wu
second
is
wave
not a
feminists,
man.
so I don't know what you're
Brianna
talking
Wu
about.
is a
Everybody you
woman.
read up on is a second wave
Is a
feminist.
Zonia.
So and everybody you quote is a second wave feminist.
And yet
But
she's pro sex work.
and
Come
and
on.
so
And
and so
pro gender ideology. That's
you
ridiculous.
for no reason attacked her gender and claimed that she was being misogynistic, your favorite word that you apply to things that aren't misogynistic. And so what I did was I was like,
Someone
okay,
hurt you,
well,
Mike.
fuck this shit. Because Gami is actually a friend of mine. I was like, well, fuck this shit. Let's do tit for tat here. And so I tweeted out, because you said male misogyny moment. And I quote tweeted it, and I said, washed up bitter porn star moment. Right. That's what I put out
which is
there.
a clear
But
escalation because you were not involved.
But then you turned it into me wanting to fuck you or wanting to want your pussy or some shit, this weird degenerate shit that you do. I don't understand why you did that. You just went over the top with it. So I started then memeing more. So then I started memeing more aggressively on you. And we just kind of escalated. And then you ended up blocking me, which I thought, honestly, here was the thing. I was enjoying the back and forth. I thought it was fun as well.
Yeah,
So
I didn't. I think you're annoying.
Well, you thought it was funny what you were saying, though. So I don't know.
Yeah, well, I'm very funny. Yeah, I thought that I was very funny, but then I was like, I don't like that doesn't do anything for me. I don't like the content shit, and I knew that people are just gonna take this out of her fucking proportion, so I deleted some of it. And then I was like, I don't.
Gami?
Because I believe that I do believe that a lot of trans women have internalized misogyny like the rest of the fucking world, but I think it's even it's more notable in people who want to be respected as women. If you are acting like a man, if you're treating women and talking about women like men do, you don't get to be a woman.
By the way, that's the main thing I talk about in here is male socialization.
You don't even get to be that just doesn't make any fucking sense. You're already a visitor in the space.
You and I agree on this, by the way. We're in lockstep on this thing. So we don't have a disagreement there. You and I match up on politics. So now the way that you treated her though was totally uncalled for. There was nothing misogynistic about it. There's nothing male about it. There was nothing male socialized about it. Gami was a young transitioner, keep in mind. Very young transitioner. So she's very femininely.
Still a male.
She's very femininely socialized.
So, yeah, but Lav, the question is was there something specific about it that made you throw in the word male? Like it could have been misogynistic without the word male.
Yeah, and I still argue there's nothing misogynistic about it. It was that she was the new locale. That was the argument being made at the time, which I don't agree with.
Okay, so even outside of that, throwing in the word male, you're obviously ramping it up, right?
Yeah, you're being a little hateful, I would say.
So
a little.
Come
on.
Okay. No, go ahead.
She ramped it up to 100.
Hold on, let her answer.
No, go ahead.
Go ahead.
So when I've followed Katie around a little bit because of her interactions with Smeth, and Smeth is my friend, so I've seen a little bit of their stuff, and commonalities between why people think that Katie is really annoying is because they're gendered insults, shrill. They say that she's stupid. Everything is talking about, most of the vitriol is gendered. When you're in a space like this, also, people are going to take women less fucking seriously. If you have a shrill voice, if you have anything that clearly makes you female, if you come on camera and if you are wearing makeup, if you're not wearing makeup, people think that Katie is annoying because of how shrill she is, that she's very obviously, she calls herself a feminist, all of these things. And then Gammy says, oh, this person is the new Lav. And, we're both feminists, albeit we believe different things, as, any feminist can. But, and then saying, like, comparing one woman to another woman, like, why, like, it is just like even the whole like lolcow thing, it's like women are more often lolcows. It's like a dehumanizing term that is like not gendered completely, but you're absolutely like understanding that, like, if a woman gets too emotional, or if a woman gets too shrill, or if she argues a little illogically, or if she's whatever, you turn into this like lolcow thing. I don't expect you, and this is why I say I don't expect any of you to understand the complexities of what growing up as a woman in the patriarchy feels like, or the microaggressions that exist in it. Like, imagine if
So
imagine
hold on,
if
you're
like
you're
hold on,
you're gish galloping a little bit, and it's making it difficult
imagine
to address what you're saying.
okay, great, let me finish and you can write it down. That's not on me, that's on you. So if it was like a black creator and another black creator, and Gammy was like, oh, this is the new whatever, I think it's probably safe to assume that, like, that might be a little rooted in racism, because there are plenty of other people that you can compare plenty of people to. And then obviously I've seen Gammy,
No,
I've also seen
50% of the world, right? Or 50% of the country.
I've also seen Gummy, Gammy, whatever the fuck their name is,
Gummy.
be misogynistic before. Like, I've seen it before. I've followed Gummy for a very long time.
Did you know that your politics match up with hers? She also talks about male socialization and trans women. That's part of the thing that Gummy and I actually talk about.
I think that we do probably match up on quite a bit. That doesn't mean that we're like complete allies. I still call out my own
it means that
internalized
she's
misogyny.
hyper aware of male socialization and misogyny.
I'm doing a whole shtick with Erudite because I've called her a misogynist. There are plenty of times where I have picked it out in other women.
So same misogyny moment instead of male misogyny moment, because she cares about male socialization and trans women too.
So maybe it packed a bigger punch. Maybe she realizes what the fuck she's doing.
It seems like you're just sort of automatically judging someone based on their gender and kind of assuming making assumptions about them.
That people use
how
to bully
crazy
you, Lav, based on this
How
conversation.
Because hold on, shut up for a second, Parallax. Because the whole argument that you're making is that she's doing that to you because you're also a woman. So you're basically doing the same thing. Here's the thing.
That is part of the gag. That's part of the. That's part of, like, if she's gonna
there's no gag about it. You
misogyny
believed it. You assumed
she's gonna
it.
be what I feel like is a misogynist. I'm gonna point out that you are a man. It's tit for tat.
So the problem is that you assumed that was what was actually going on. It was a lolcow thing, but you assumed it had something to do with your sex.
Twitter.
Well, but the problem is, but then you go and then do that assumption back onto her, right? So
yes,
here's the thing.
That is what Twitter is.
Okay, so it's just kind of stupid is all, and it makes it much more.
You assumed I abused and or killed my cat from a fucking comedy video.
I have actual video evidence.
To be fair, Lav,
there's no comedy to it.
Lav, you did assume Zonia was part of a theatrical cabal that's out to get you and Mr. Girl too.
That is not okay. Theatrical cabal is such a the most
they're putting on
dramatic
theater, right?
way. That, people assume shit about me all the fucking time. It is like people assume shit about each other. What, like, why are you guys acting like this is fucking crazy that I went on and it was like, yeah, this is
so
misogyny.
We're talking about
if it looks like misogyny, if it smells like misogyny, if it walks like misogyny, it's probably fucking misogyny.
Okay, well then, Lav, this is what I'm going to argue then. Then everything is misogynistic. And then it's not even really worth calling it out with a specific person and saying it's male misogyny. That doesn't make any sense. The problem is that you lean very, very hard on the word misogyny, correct?
No.
It's one of your most frequently used words, correct?
No.
Because you see misogyny all over the place, even where it doesn't actually exist, correct?
No. What is this framing?
Because you basically point at people all the time and you say, you're misogynistic, you're male misogynistic, or male misogyny, etc.
Usually when
it's
I call out
just a word that you kind of throw around. you use it the same way that trans people that are leftist trans people
This is
throw
a
the word
feeling.
transphobe
You
around.
feel this way.
No,
And
this
so
is
I will
very much.
validate your
This is very
feelings
much.
about it.
This is very much in everything you say. Like, think
Substantiate
about.
that.
Here's the thing.
Substantiate how I call
Here.
everything this. And how I've
Let's
been
look
wrong.
at your. Think about this. How often
This
do you
is
hear
a
me use the
feeling,
word?
Zonia.
Okay, think about this. How often do you hear me use the word transphobe?
I don't watch your content. I don't know. Also, you
You've
don't care
engaged
about
with me a lot.
transphobia. I care about misogyny.
Well, you thought that
care
I
about
did, but
transphobia.
anyways, so how often do I use those words? How about Nazi? How about fascist? You use misogyny the way it is that leftists use Nazi, fascist, transphobe, the
Zonia,
way
I
right
use
wingers use
misogyny
pedophile.
in a male-dominated space where people are constantly telling me what I look like without makeup, talking about my OnlyFans, saying that I should just go back to OnlyFans and never speak again.
You use
You're
it
saying
on.
that I use.
You use
Yes.
it excessively to the point where it doesn't have meaning anymore. It is useless. It
To you.
disempowers the use of the word.
Okay,
It
this is
disempowers
such a
people being able
useless
to call out actual
conversation.
misogyny. So the
Okay.
problem is that I saw you go and turn that on Gami and use
Disempowers
it,
the word.
and yes, it does.
Jesus
And by
Christ.
definition, it does. And so,
By
and then I
definition?
see you, and you take that, you turn it on to Gami, but not only that, you then essentialize her sex around it, and you say male misogyny moment. It shows me that it's bad faith. You don't really give a shit about what she's actually saying or doing.
Disempower. Make a person or group less powerful or confident.
You just want to throw the word around. Well, let's say dilute then, if you don't want to use that word. But
I wouldn't say dilute either.
So it dilutes the effectiveness of the word. The word becomes meaningless if you just.
This is a
feeling.
This is a feeling.
No, this is actually
What's the data to suggest calling things out as misogyny makes it less potent?
Do you take it seriously when like some raging woke scold calls someone a transphobe? Do you take that seriously?
Well, I don't take anything.
A Nazi.
With Nazi.
I mean, you would look at it the same way most of us do. You look at it the same way most of us do. It's like, oh, great,
I'd be like, oh, why are they calling that person a Nazi?
It's the boy who cried misogyny laugh. It's like at some point no one believes it, right? That's what Zonia's saying.
Okay, but that's you're
fascist
saying,
is another one.
This framing is ridiculous. I have called out misogyny when it has been misogyny. If you don't understand that, that is fine. We are just going to disagree on this.
I think I probably understand misogyny far better than you do, because I don't pretend as though anything that's a criticism of my personal actions is misogynistic. I think that gives me a better gauge of what misogyny is, because I don't use it liberally and spread it across everything like someone's excessive use of salt on food.
Okay.
So, but for no reason, you went and you essentialized her sex. You said male misogyny moment. So of course I went and retaliated and responded, because we were disarmed at that point. But I was like, fuck it. If you're gonna go after my friend like that with such a shitty attack for no good reason, then yeah, sure, I'm gonna go ahead and clap back at you. You know, why not, right?
Yeah, and great. I don't think that there was any. I think that you are like deranged when it comes to me. Like I think that you. I think
that's very easy to say because it makes it easy to dismiss criticisms.
You gotta let her finish.
No, Tom.
Hold on, no, because you've interrupted her like the last 5 times she started talking. You gotta let her say something once.
I'm unmoderatable.
Okay, Laugh. Go ahead, please.
I don't listen. I am a TERF. Like I identify as a TERF. I don't know, like, if you're gonna be like, and also I think that Zonia, you have been deranged towards me. You've tried to stick your nose in every bit of my business consistently for weeks now.
That's not true.
I just got fucking like annoyed with you, so I blocked you. I don't have like I don't hate you. I don't think that you're the worst person in the world. I think that, your friend saying that I was a junkie and posting photos of Klonopin at me was like upsetting and also like wrong. I've never abused Klonopin. I've just been taking it for a while, and it's hard to get off of because benzos, are in your system and they're just hard to get off of. I'm not like a junkie. But
Hold on. I have a question I've got to ask. I can't ignore this. I have been no. This one is it's being ignored. Lav, you throw misogyny around all the time. What about the way you treated Kelly Jean and Madam Jen? Like, that is pure misogynist bullshit. What do you mean?
So the way that I treated Kelly Jean is like an awful bitch. Kelly Jean has like Kelly Jean repeatedly like, first of all, okay, so this is where I'm coming out with the Madam Genevieve and Kelly Jean shit. They said something that I fundamentally disagreed with, which was that sex work was empowering. Right? It is not. And so when these people are on panels with me and they're trying to be like, no, it is empowering, I'm going to be like, no, you're fucking retarded. It's not. Here's the data behind it. This is a feeling that you have, and it's not true. It's actually completely the antithesis.
Jean an awful bitch was misogynist, right?
What?
Calling Kelly Jean an awful bitch was misogynist. Like, you're doing it right now.
I would call you an awful bitch.
Okay, but you're just justifying. Okay, but then you
okay. Then also then you're right. No, but here's the thing.
Then Zonia's but here's the thing. You don't understand misogyny.
No, you are calling this misogyny, which is true. Calling someone a gendered insult is misogyny. I don't think anyone's free from misogyny.
So
it's just okay when you do it. Okay.
No, it's not okay. You're assuming that after I say that after I call out what is misogyny, I'm making a condemnation. I'm not. Me and Gammy, I still don't know how to fucking say their name. Gammy, whatever. Gami. I think it's Gami. If Gami and I could have continued to be mutuals forever. We've made jabs at each other forever. I called Steven a misogynist in the beginning, and I still kept streaming with him. I've called Big Tech a misogynist. I've kept streaming with him. It's not a condemnation. It is just a call out.
I'm sorry, you're saying when you say it's a call out of the behavior, right? You're saying it's misogynistic behavior, not the person, right?
But you're okay with it.
Okay, so hold on. I'm trying to clear this up real quick. So you are saying that you're calling out the behavior because it's bad behavior, whereas he's saying you're like, when you do it as well, we would expect you to take responsibility for also acting or having misogynistic behavior as well.
Sure, and I think I do and have. I think even just now using a gendered insult was misogyny. I'll try not to do that in the future. I think that society, and what I have said continuously from the beginning, is that the patriarchy and misogyny is so ingrained into our everyday lives that it's hard to even fucking tell, right? Because we just say things offhand now, like saying the word bitch or saying the word whatever. Like, it's just in our normal fucking vocabulary. So obviously it is easier to call out misogyny in someone else, right? It's harder to tell when I'm doing it because, I'm not above anything. I don't think I'm above anyone for being a shiny beacon of feminist truth, right? I still fall into the same shit. Hell, I'm still doing sex work and I'm against it. I just think it's important to call out things. And also, I would appreciate if more people called out whether or not I was being misogynistic. Kyla was one of them and was like, you know what? I think that calling someone a pick-me is misogyny. And it completely was. It completely was. I am not above criticism, and nobody else is either.
Tom, check your DMs.
Sure. So, okay. All
right.
Got it.
So, all right, I'll let you handle that. Sorry, I've been dealing with a number of things over here on my end. A little distracted.
Yeah.
Not trying to be rude, just a little distracted. So, Lav, here's the thing. I know that you think that I'm deranged. Well, I don't know if you actually think that. Maybe you're not being honest there. I'm not really sure. Since your conversation with Max, yeah, I put that little short video out about you in the tweets about it. I didn't really care all that much after that. I just kind of left it there. But obviously there were escalations afterward.
You went on a panel like 2 nights ago about me, talking about me, you know, everyone was telling me that you were fucking deranged talking about me. There are people in other servers saying, "Damn, like I don't know why Zonia's like going so hard on
listen to those people. You shouldn't listen to those people. Here's the thing. This is what viewers do. They bait drama, and so they'll go and they'll tell you things that aren't actually true, or they'll,
No, Zonia, I've seen you
hyperbolize it,
talk
right?
about me. I've seen
But
you
the one
talk
from
about
2
me.
days ago, it's a pretty tame conversation, and it was just general, like people were catching up. There was conversation going on. I actually mostly stayed off of the topic. I made a couple of comments, but overall wasn't trying to be hyperbolic and was keeping it pretty tame. Because I did back off of you, and I did unpublish the video. I privated it, so things are cool at the time, right?
Yeah, and then
So
because
here's
of
the thing.
because of a negative interaction, you forgot your virtues and put it back up. And then you went on the 30-minute rant calling me a fucking lolcow. Zonia, that was deranged. That was derangement.
That was before all that.
That was still derangement, Zonia.
Okay,
You've been insane to me.
You used the word derangement like you used the word misogyny, so I don't really care about it. It doesn't mean anything to me, and it doesn't mean anything to anybody else. But
thank you for completely invalidating whatever I said, and you can fill it.
Well,
you can now fill this space with whatever the truth is, which is what you said.
I'll be honest. If Demon Mama calls somebody a transphobe, yeah, I'm going to throw that out too. I'm not going to listen to it. So there are people who misuse words and abuse them and use them aggressively to the point where they have no meaning anymore.
I'm just telling you how I feel.
So you are doing that with the word misogyny, and now you're doing it with the word deranged. So yeah, nobody's really going to care about what you think is deranged, unfortunately, or
it's
fortunately,
also,
in my case, unfortunately,
I think all of these conversations have an air of unusualness because when I feel like, listen, this is a feel statement. This isn't I feel statement. Okay,
well, everything has been feel statements up until this point, but yeah,
yeah, up until
you've leaned a lot on how you feel about things.
Yeah, because I think that when you have a conversation with someone, because you are streaming right now, so you're having a conversation with me and you're also playing to an audience, right? You're having we have a dual conversation right now in which I'm talking to you, expressing my feelings so that we can maybe somewhat move past this or understand each other.
Well,
and you're also playing to your audience saying like
feelings.
You're also signaling to your audience how they should feel about me. You're signaling to the people who are talking to us how they should feel about me. And this whole time I've been talking to you, whereas you've been talking about me and sort of to me, but sort of through me. And I find that having a conversation like this is extremely confusing.
I talk to you as well.
Okay, but this conversation is very confusing for me because of that.
That's not on me. That's a you problem. But I've been pretty direct.
Okay.
I've been speaking to you directly. But the problem is that your justifications for a lot of your actions have been based on how you feel or felt about these situations. But the thing is, when your feelings are false and then you go and do certain things, make certain statements about people, and those are false, those people are going to feel like they have the need to defend themselves or to say something in response. That's kind of the way this works when you say these things in public, right? If you don't like that, don't say them in public, say them in private. Don't say them on a stream. Say them in a private server between like friends that you trust or something. Otherwise, expect some of the quote deranged responses that you're getting from people, which is fuck, Lav has done it again, saying more shit about me.
Yeah, I'm not saying that you shouldn't. I'm not even making a moral statement that you shouldn't be deranged. I'm just saying that you have been deranged. I don't care whether or not you bully me. That's for me. That's for you to dig your own hole in, right? That says more about you than it says about me. But what I like when you're talking about me, I would like to, and that's why I joined, because when you're talking about me, I'd probably like to be part of it. Seems like I could have been part of it because Parallax was like, you should come on. And I was like, okay, then I will. So that's why I'm here. But if you want to keep bullying me, if you want to
communicate with me after blocking me, I would have probably invited you on to have a talk with you about this stuff. But I don't know. I figured that you were kind of done with me.
Yeah, I definitely am not wanting to speak to you with any sort of excitement. But I thought this conversation was fine. Because I got to express my feelings, even though you invalidated every single one of them, and kept interrupting me and kept calling me, is saying that, just it wasn't an extremely successful
not that it's
conversation.
ultra important, but I don't want it left out there that I asked you to join the call. Zonia asked if you were around, and I said she's asking if you're around. Would you like to, or do you want to speak to her / us? I did not.
Yeah,
ask
you
to
implied that
join
I
the call.
should. I didn't say that you asked me.
Okay.
Yeah. So, I don't know. What you're experiencing is just kind of what you deal with when you make public statements about people. Sorry that you see it as being deranged. Doesn't have to do anything with me digging a hole or anything like that. I guess, expected outcomes. Maybe you're not prepared to expect them. That's kind of on you, though. So
It's not that I'm not
I don't know what
prepared
to tell
to
you.
expect them. It's I can still react to them even if I'm expecting them.
Again, you're kind of leaning on, your feelings based on,
Zonia, a
people are
lot of this is
responding
your
to.
feelings.
No,
Yes,
I'm
like
pretty
you
direct
feeling like I
in
abused
my
my
responses.
cat.
There's
Or
no
you
feeling there. It's very
or like
obvious in your delivery. There's nothing deadpan about it. There's nothing comedic about it. The video
Okay.
itself wasn't marked as comedy. It didn't have a hashtag satire in it or anything.
Hold on, Lav, I haven't seen this video. I assume
your
most people
videos.
haven't
Well,
seen
here's the
this
thing.
video. Hold on,
Here's the
I
thing.
want to ask
Hold on.
just real quick,
Okay.
because Lav, is it so unreasonable that somebody would take that interpretation from this video that you abused the cat?
I think it is in the context of the succession of videos, because it was like a quote video after a series of videos, right? So anyone who was watching that saga could very clearly tell, anyone following me could tell that I have like a dry, monotone delivery. To someone who's pulling it up 2 to 3 years later, yeah, I could probably understand that. But when I clarify and say, no, I don't abuse my cat, I mean, you don't have to believe me. If you think I'm a cat abuser, that's fine, but it's like completely speculatory. And for you to say that as a fact is against everything that you've said that you're mad at me for.
But the thing is, I have pretty strong claims to it that I can substantiate quite
No,
well.
you don't. You have a video. You have a video. You have a video of me squishing my cat on a bed.
And
Cats
your claim that you were
squished.
And your claim that you were a comedy TikToker at the time also doesn't really hold up, because you're the content at the time is you talking about things like, not wanting to have people's identities invalidated, talking about misogyny, advocating for trans issues too. It was serious topics that you talked about at the time. So
No,
you can't claim that you were a comedy.
15 to 20% of my content. I was at that point.
But you claim that you were a comedy TikToker at the time.
I
That is not actually true. So trying to say that is the basis for that, that is not a strong basis, when most of what you were putting out there was pretty serious stuff or casual conversations about
you're saying
things that your
most,
chatters
and you
ask
have
you.
nothing. It wasn't most. You're making these claims that have no fucking backing because of it's how you feel, Zonia.
It has nothing to do with how I feel. It has to do with what we've actually looked at and what we've seen of your content.
Okay, I don't know. Again, I think most people don't know about the cat. What I'm wondering is, earlier on when you first came in, you made it sound like, hey, like there were times when we were friendly, and then it seemed like Zonia would do things that would make you feel like you weren't friendly. But then when she asked why you blocked her, you said, well, I just don't like you. When did you get to the point where you just didn't like her, and just doing something like blocking her or just being unfriendly with her was seemed like a normal thing to do?
Well, I don't like my reactions to Zonia. I think that was I think that by blocking Zonia, I was setting like a personal boundary. I think that Zonia is annoying, but I don't I think that was mostly just because I don't like how I respond to Zonia.
Like because of the stuff that Zonia says to you, or because of the way that she challenges you, or what?
No, I feel like Zonia is especially personal and vitriolic to me, and that ignites me to be personal as well. And I don't like that. I don't like that about this space. I've noticed that that's how I become, and how I've been hardened to the world of Twitch Poll after existing in it for as long as I have. And I don't want to do that. I don't wish to do that. I will try to, I've tried to not do that. And I think that blocking people is a pretty good first step.
What about Zonia's behavior makes you feel that it's like targeted and like spiteful?
I mean, targeted. I don't think it has to be
stick with
targeted.
her framing. Let's not reframe it. Not use loaded
What
words
words
to
did you
reframe it.
use? What words did you use, Lev? Just so I'm sorry, I'm not
She
trying
said
to reframe.
deranged.
So when I talk
Okay,
to
deranged.
Zonia, it feels very personal and dehumanizing.
I thought you said vitriolic. That's the word I thought, but
yeah, like vitriolic. Like when she was calling me like a lol cow and saying like we should milk the mentally ill. You're just a lol cow. It seemed like so like I don't know. I don't know if anyone's really ever spoken to me that way. And it made me feel really bad.
I'll own vitriolic. I was trying to be vitriolic.
Yeah, I don't know if anyone's tried like so brazenly tried to like hurt my feelings that much before. At least on like a live stream. That's not true. Chud Logic does that.
Yeah, I was gonna say, what about Chud? Yeah, Chud did it like a week ago.
Yeah. No, plenty of people do it, but to my face, very rarely. And I also have Chud Logic blocked, so I think that they're I think that I will just
All right. Well, I don't know. Well, like, how would you want to wrap this up if you could so choose, Lav?
I mean, there's nothing really I can do about the way that people are framing my life publicly. I guess I can say that I'm not crazy, and I can I can shriek it, and I guess no one will believe me. But I guess if you want to know what I'm really like, you can like see. You can have actual conversations with me. I make my own content, Minecraft content. Overwatch content.
I actually want to ask
I stream
you a
every
question,
day.
if we can have a conversation.
I mean, Overwatch is probably her most cancelable thing, but
True.
Is there a behavior?
Well, it's not League. So.
Is there a behavior that Zonia engaged in that you had a problem with tonight that you don't engage in? Like vitriolic behavior, misogyny. Is there anything that Zonia did that you discussed tonight that you do not also engage in?
Yeah, so I think that Zonia plays to an audience as she's speaking to someone, and that really bothers me, but I don't think that that's unique to her. I think that that is sort of like a streaming thing.
And you'd think that you don't do this ever.
Yeah, I think you were doing that in that conversation on Tuna Chip stream. It very much sounded like you were playing to your audience.
Why are you framing like I can't be mad at someone if I also do it? That like just doesn't exist in humans.
It's just it's hypocrisy. So I'm trying to figure it out.
Okay, if you're
I honestly don't care.
People's natural inclinations are to be hypocritical. Zonia has been hypocritical to me in this fucking conversation. And people like I don't understand. Are you someone who lives life without contradictions? I just don't believe that that's true. But for some reason, with me,
contradictions in my life. But I think like if there's something that bothers me,
I guess the question I want. Hold on,
for some reason with me because of how I've been framed, people are trying to pick apart everything I say from top to bottom to try to find like anything they can to like disrupt my argument, which is incredibly annoying.
I will say this. Sorry, I don't want to cut you off. Go ahead.
No, you're fine.
So I'll say this. Now I know you're not going to like it, but I'm going to say it. If I were going around making stories up about people that turned out to be false, after a while, eventually I'd end up with a microscope on me too. And then everybody would be scrutinizing everything I do and looking for any little flaw, anywhere where I slip up, and bringing that to the foreground and putting a spotlight on it. So it's just sort of the nature of these things. And it's not just in this space.
I understand.
It's in public spaces in general.
Yes, I understand.
It's not even unique to this space.
I still think I'm aware of the framing around the Hassan situation. I still like I don't agree with the premise.
Genevieve, Kelly, Pixie.
That's
those are the people we care about the most because they're actually smaller creators. They don't have the power that Hassan and Steven have.
I did not say anything false about Genevieve. And after I misspoke when I was talking about Pixie. I was talking about Pixie in the frame of like orbiters 5 minutes before I said that she had slept with Steven.
You did say something
on
false
accident.
about Genevieve.
on accident, and then 5 minutes later, after she had messaged me and said, I did not sleep with Steven, I went on the record. I said, you can screenshot this. I'm so sorry. And then on that stream, I was like, by the way, I lied earlier. I didn't mean to say Pixie. Pixie has not slept with Steven. She's telling me that she's not slept with Steven.
You implied that Jen had slept with him too, and that is not true.
No, I did not. I said that they had a sexual relationship.
So the problem is
sending a couple of pictures of a sexual relationship, really?
The problem
I'm sorry,
is that
sending nudes is absolutely a sexual relationship. Are you kidding me? If you were in a relationship and you were sending someone, if you were in a relationship and you sexted with someone without knowledge, without your spouse's knowledge or without your whatever's knowledge, why would they be upset?
Because it's cheating, not because it's a sexual
relationship. Yes,
and
what's cheating about it? The fact that it's a sexual relationship, correct?
If you were to tell somebody that you had a sexual relationship with somebody, that you were long distance dating for a year,
I'm
you've
not
never
going
seen
to
in real life. Okay, I'm just saying, nobody would consider that a sexual relationship.
Why don't we try to let's keep it all
civil? It's not a sexual relationship. That's the whole point, and it also was not your information to share.
I don't think on the regards to hypocrisy thing, I don't think it has to do with like any allegations or anything like that. I think the reason why people search for hypocrisy is because people are trying to figure out if a complaint that somebody is making feels authentic. So for instance, like if my mom
Steven, I don't
really
want to talk to you.
You don't have to talk to me. I'm talking to the rest of the panel then. Fuck you.
Okay.
If my mom got mad, yeah, fucking got her. Okay. I really just wanted to bully her over this. That's fine. I'll let it.
Oh no. Well, yeah, I don't know. It's like it is a loop. And these are all expected outcomes, so I don't really know what to say.
Yeah, I don't. She did that numerous times where she kept saying like, "Well, just because I do it doesn't mean that there's nothing wrong with it." And I kept like, I tried. I think everybody tried explaining that like it's more about if you're trying to condemn somebody, it doesn't sound like you're actually condemning them. If you're like, "Yeah, I do it all the time too." So yeah, same with like the misogyny stuff.
If my mom were to go into a room and be like, I don't like this because somebody called me a bitch, and my mom said that, like, okay, yeah, because my mom doesn't call people bitches. I would expect that she would be upset about that. But like if I went into a room and was like, I'm so upset, like they were all cussing yesterday. Like people are like, well, you cuss all the time. Like nobody would believe the feeling. It's not a matter that like you can use somebody's hypocrisy to like devalue their feelings. It's the idea that if a person regularly engages in a behavior, then their criticisms of somebody else doing it rings a bit hollow because people don't really believe your feeling about it. Or if you genuinely do have that feeling about it, then they're going to feel like you're an entitled child who's playing by a double standard, and nobody will respect that either, which I think is fair.
Yeah.
Well, and if if every single criticism you levy is something you engage in, like you're just wholesale hypocritical, right? Like you're there's nothing you can criticize that I want to take seriously in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah, but I think you have to go a step further than just saying hypocritical or hypocrisy, because the issue is that people can. This is the point I was trying to make. People can be hypocritical and they can still make the complaint. So for instance, like let's say that I beat somebody up when I was in high school and it was a bad thing to do. And then let's say that like I'm in college or it's 10 years later and somebody beats me up. And I'm like, okay, well somebody beat the shit out of me. This sucks. And so I was like, well, didn't you beat somebody up in high school? And I was like, sure. But like, yeah, I mean,
hypocrisy within a time frame, right? Like if you're engaging in that behavior, like live in this call, for example.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm just saying that just saying somebody's being hypocritical, I don't think is the best response. I think you have to take it a step further, right? I think it's fair to say that Lav and a lot of people in this space engage in a certain type of behavior that makes it seem par for the course. It's almost like we all kind of implicitly agree to some set of rules or standards by coming into the space. So when somebody acts like shocked and says, I don't like that, I don't appreciate that, if they've been playing by that set of rules, everybody else kind of looks and they're like, what? And we've all seen Lav conduct herself in like an ultra aggressive way, which is fine, which is what everybody does. But then for her to take a step back from it and suddenly pretend like she's above it all and be like, well, this is actually horrible and abusive. And it's like, well, hold on. Is it really? I don't think you really felt that way. It feels like you're getting at something different. You've got another issue because you seem to engage in this behavior just fine when you were here on your own. Zonia pointed out with the misogyny, the attacking of the other sex workers, the name calling of other people. Like all of us do that here. That's kind of like an implicit bargain we make when we enter the space, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Goddamn, I was hoping for like a little bit of a resolution there because now I don't know where it is that Lav and I stand, but whatever.
I mean, she said that she doesn't like you and that she blocked you. Like, it made it sound like it was completely unrelated to the fight overall. Sorry, she did not say she doesn't like you. She said that you're annoying that she doesn't like the way that she reacts to you. And so she blocked
not good for her mental health. So
yeah, did she block you,
better
Steven?
choice for her.
On what?
On Twitter.
Oh, I've been blocked on Twitter for like a year, or not a year, but for several months, I think.
Okay.
Yeah. I think we're still not. I think we still have open lines of communication in Discord, or at least I hope so, because that was sort of our agreement back originally. But yeah, I don't know.
Oh, also something you guys. This is like a tip for life and these conversations in lab, especially. Okay, an I feel statement is supposed to describe like an emotional response you have to some event. Don't let people, Lab does this a lot, don't let people try to make statements of fact using I feel statements. Like, you can never utter the phrase, I feel like you're misogynist. I feel like you're a thing. Don't let somebody do that, because anytime you try to push back on that, she'll say like, oh, you're just attacking my feelings. No. They're not attacking your feelings. They're attacking the fact that you tried to smuggle in with that I feel statement. Don't let anybody do that. I see that happening a lot, especially with Lab sometimes.
I mean, she got called out on that a couple of times, like that her feelings need to attach to reality or align with reality somehow. Yeah.
Yeah, like I feel hurt or I feel upset. Like you're describing, not, you can't say like I feel like this statement of fact, because that's debatable and feelings aren't debatable. It's a way to smuggle in like descriptive claims and then pretend like you don't have to defend them because it's just it's really sinking.
Lots of times people will say
was that if it doesn't matter if your feelings don't map onto reality.
Lots of times people will say I feel to say that I think. And if they say I think, like it would be a little bit different. But they say I feel because you like they have this idea that you can't have invalid feelings. And so if you argue against what it is they're saying, if they say I feel, now you're invalidating their feelings, and they can use that, oh, well, you're invalidating my feelings. My feelings are valid. And so they say I feel instead of I think as armor to keep from having anybody argue against them.
Well, the problem is that she'll use it to hold to claims that she has made publicly instead of walking back those claims or clearing up her position on those claims. She'll hold to them with the I feel statement. And that leaves a lot of things up in the air. There's still a lot of antagonism there. There's still people feeling like they need to defend themselves, or like they're worried that she's going to go and do this more. And then part of the problem is that then she also will then, I hope she doesn't do this again, but she does have a pattern, will go on to somebody's stream and start talking about these things and bring those statements back up and bring those positions back up.
One thing that's really difficult that's happening right now, I think she's almost admitted as much with these like weekly calls and stuff, is that as she's probably trying to work through things and process things, and then she has other people telling her things like, you guys on these panels or people in chat rooms. I don't know if you can hear it, but like I've been inundated obviously in so many of these statements. Like I don't know if you can tell, like a lot of what she says are things that Max has been repeating to her verbatim. There's a lot of talking points now that have been coming out, and the way that she's reframed some past stuff that Max has pushed her and like railroaded her into 100% believing. So you're also working against that in the background too. I don't know what your policy is on this, but like this is a policy I figured a long time ago. If I have a friend and I feel like that person is being manipulated by another person, I almost always just disconnect from the friend, because the only way to usually fight back against that level of manipulation is to also like manipulate the person. And personally, I don't have time for those fucking games, and it's just really annoying. But when somebody's being hardcore manipulated on the other end by some group of people or by a person, it's really, really, really hard to ever get them to change their mind or see things in a different light.
Yep. I've had to deal with that.
Someone's got their claws into them.
Well, what's something that you think that she's being manipulated by Max on?
She's starting to use like statements, things that I've only heard him say before. Like she used one statement that was so particular. I think she said something to me. She was like, "I'm fighting for my life on this," and that's a phrase. That's a very particular phrase that I've heard Mr. Grill use before in regards to like internet stuff. I've seen him say that in DMs and stuff.
Or a lot of the stuff about the feelings as well.
She's referred to it as like drowning, with drowning under all of the dogpiling and stuff.
Oh, maybe, yeah. The way that she how she talks about like the initiation of like you have to bully Lav as the initiation to get in. That's buying into the Max's story, the kind of like the archetype he sets up for how to get into my community. She's like parroting a lot of that basically verbatim from what he thinks. I noticed too when Shaylin went on Chud Logic stream to do his interview, she basically was 100% verbatim, like parroting every single thing that Max has said as well. So if you're in Max's orbit, it's you can't really have your own thoughts or feelings. They have to coincide with his, or else he'll axe you from the orbit. That's another really interesting thing. It's funny because Lav thought that she was just innocuously reading text from him, but when he was talking to her about her feelings, rather than like asking like, how do you feel about this, what's going on, he was telling her like, you probably feel this, you feel like this because of this, you feel this because of this. Is exactly the way he communicates. That's why she'll never leak the DMs with him, is because it'll look hardcore manipulative. He's dictating to her how she's supposed to feel and interpret things.
Maybe I missed this, but my chat is saying that she also did the "I don't like your framing" thing. But which is
that's an important thing for Max too, because a lot of
that
stuff is like revolving around everything has to be framed in a certain light, because if you lose the framing, you lose the ability to tell the story that Max wants to tell.
Yeah, I said earlier that Shaylin has become like a facsimile of Max, and it's really evident if you look at like any of her stuff before she was with him. It's really bizarre how much she's changed.
I want credit for that, bringing that up first, because somebody emailed me that, and I listened on stream, and I think it reverberated. But no, I agree with you 100%.
Oh,
dude, I saw a podcast with her like 3 or 4 years ago. Oh my god, yeah, it's like a night and day difference. Holy shit!
I won't pretend that that's not possibly where I saw it.
Oh sure, so. Okay.
I mean, that's expected. I want to say though, I mean, that's not. I don't want to be so like. I don't want to push back against such small things, but that's not all that ridiculous though. When people are around each other that much, or especially a couple who lives together like that, they're going to start to sound alike and agree more and more, and change their opinions and change like their speaking habits and stuff like that, right? Like that's just generally true. It's not necessary that she's like being brainwashed or anything, right?
No, I'm not gonna. She is being brainwashed. If it was just that, then I would agree with you. I think it's the totality of everything. Like we've gotten like a pretty intimate window into their relationship, where Max is highly abusive. We've seen that like their relationship probably meets most of the criteria for what Max would consider an abusive relationship. I don't think Shaylin works. Her entire professional career is dedicated to supporting Max. He's the sole control of like her income and where she lives. We've got like multiple accounts of him like screaming at her, breaking things, hitting blinds, attacking stuff around her, like turning up the volume and recording her crying after she explicitly says she doesn't want a video to be, released, although he says he got consent later. I think we've seen enough. And then that taken into totality with him saying Shaylin will never come online. He doesn't ever want her to be involved in this world ever. But then as soon as it's convenient for him to wheel her out on Chud Logic stream to defend his character, now all of a sudden she's
mobile air defense system.
Yeah, I don't buy that. Like she is like the white blood cell that Max accuses like every orbiter of being, I think.
Yeah.
She's
that's the
mobile
thing.
Air defense system.
A lot of their whole dogmatic view of this whole thing, it's very much projection based, because Max has framed himself up into this sort of cult-like way of viewing the whole thing. He stated to me even directly when we were on a VC that my not agreeing with his framing of the situation was because I was in your cult, Stephen, and then I was indoctrinated. This is months ago. This is back in November, and saying that I was part of the cult and that I was brainwashed. Like it just cannot be reasoned with. And it seems like they've sort of built this tiny little controlled environment, and everything is built and constructed around this cult-like language that they're projecting onto everybody else. So
it's like it's a very common like conspiracy thing where you kind of set up everything so that if a person acts in a certain way, even if they're acting in a way that's contrary to your predictions of how they'd act, there's always like a reason for it. So for like, I hate these personal examples, but like I'm sexually abusive, but when I'm trying to like give somebody, when I'm trying to be considerate with somebody, that's just because I want plausible deniability. Or like I always encourage my subreddit to dogpile people, but when I stop them from dogpiling people, it's just so that I can look good to get like some credibility. There's like always a reason why they'll predict somebody would act the opposite way, but then when they act the opposite of how they predict, it's like, oh well, they're just doing this because of this thing. It's like the classic conspiracy theorist move.
The idea that you have like measured out every single individual action down to like the way it's going to counteract people's expectations is hilarious to me. It's like a fucking script.
Yeah.
I was going to say, I thought it was a little bit ridiculous to say that he's wheeling her out, because I think there's a lot of like a huge assumption that goes in there. Because I thought if he's wheeling her out, why doesn't he just go do it himself? But then I remembered he literally couldn't go do it himself. So
he's
because they were on Twitch.
Well, not only that, he's also gone with the whole thing that he can't put himself out there to be confronted until he gets the document out. So he's done his own little fortress arc there to lock himself down. At this point, he's not even letting people call into the hotline to question him on it. He's locked that down as well. So
yeah, and he's probably screamed at Lav after she had that conversation the other night, telling her she's not allowed to talk to me anymore too. So
that's what I was thinking.
She left. Yeah.
When she dropped off, I was like, I have a feeling Max has basically said, no, don't even be on a call with him anymore.
Yeah, it was really quick.
It was a crazy thing. Like this whole conversation wasn't supposed to happen. Hours ago, we were supposed to go over Max's most recent hotline to go over the shit that he was talking about, what had transpired days ago, right? So that's what we were supposed to be doing at this point in time. So and then this whole thing turned out in a very weird way.
Did he review it, or did he just talk about it?
He just talked about the situation between Lav, me, Star, Steven, right? He talked about that whole situation. So I wanted to look at what his framing was. I don't know what it is. People DM'd me it and told me stuff that was said. I don't actually know what's in the video or in the VOD. Guess we'll find out.
I was gonna say, I don't think I've ever seen him do a review of anything ever. But...
yeah, it's not really. He doesn't do reactions, but yeah. Anyway, I may as well just go on and do that. I've still got some gas in me. May as well get through that thing.
Yeah, I got to get to.
So, all right, you guys have a good morning.
Interesting.
It's interesting. Yeah.
Oh, well.
It was. Yeah, Zonia. I would say like you got to stop interrupting so much, man, because it hurts. Like she said, like when initially you're framing it as she's the one who's unmoderatable, but then you are the one who's jumping over her the entire time. And I know she talks a lot, but I was willing to cut her off over and over if there was time. But if you keep jumping in and talking over her, then if I stop her and say you're talking too much, now it just makes me look bad because you are interrupting either way.
It's kind of shitty, man, I get it, but what you need to do then, Tom, shut up. I'm talking. All right. Sorry. Tom, what you need to do then is you need to control her gish galloping. End of story.
Well, that's what I'm saying is that like there are points where I'm getting ready to stop her and just wait for like the end of a sentence. But if you start jumping in before I get to that point, then I can't stop her because now you've already interrupted a couple of times. And so now it just looks bad if I say, oh no, the person who keeps interrupting you gets to talk now.
She is a gish galloping claim making machine, and you weren't really reining it in. And so it was getting to the point where I'm like, great, now I have to address something she said 5 points ago.
She's getting 6 or 7 claims out. Yeah, she's getting 6 or 7 claims out before anyone can get a word in. Absolutely.
There was twice where you accused her of gish galloping, and she was on the same point the entire time. She was on one point and she didn't move off of it, and there weren't numerous
But she was
claims.
framing it up with multiple sub points, right?
Oh, the framing. Oh, here we go.
It's difficult to deal with when the whole thing that it hinges on is the thing that wasn't actually that wasn't true initially, right? The whole basis of it, the initial sub point that she hinged off of, wasn't true, and then she moved down this path of further things built off of something that wasn't true. So I guess I could
in a one-on-one conversation, that's definitely the way it would go. In a one-on-one conversation, yes, you would definitely want to jump in a lot faster. But with there being numerous people in the call, one, and then two, the way that the last call went, where you guys are just screaming and yelling over each other the entire time, this one, the only way we could possibly get through this is if it was moderated a little bit differently. And so she had to just be able to say what it was she was trying to say, and then you respond. But otherwise, yeah, it would have just been you guys yelling over each other.
She's gonna spit out 4 or 5 untruths. It's just not realistic.
But that's not what she said. She would start with an untrue claim and then explain it afterwards. And it wasn't like 10 untrue claims. It was just one untrue claim with a big long explanation after.
Oftentimes built up with other untrue claims.
Yes, because they hinge off of the initial untrue claim.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess I could have let it play out and then just like dismantle the basis of it, but yeah, I don't know. Yeah,
because even Katie.
It was civil this time at least.
Yeah, Katie ended up leaving because she was saying that I wasn't moderating enough. The chat's mad that I'm moderating it all, so.
Of course, they want the content.
Yeah,
you're cucking the content.
Yeah.
I'm, by definition, though, I am unmoderatable in your particular server.
Yes, literally, yes.
Literally. Yeah, I don't know. I was basically just reacting to the way that she does her usual thing, and I was trying to keep her from running down the path of just claim, 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 claim. It's something that she's gotten really good at. She's very skilled at it. She knows what she's doing. It's something she leans on.
You think she does it on purpose?
Yeah.
Yes.
Gish gallops?
Yes.
Yeah, and with all the claims, yeah.
I don't
think wait, what do we mean by gish gallops on purpose? I don't think anybody gish gallops on purpose.
I don't think
so. I think that
like
generally people just.
Well, I meant stringing the claims out.
Well, it's a ramble where she throws additional claims out that she makes up on the fly to sort of justify her position. But I would say her going through that effort to spit out a whole bunch of things, a barrage of claims to justify her position, I'd say that's very intentional.
Yeah, but that's very different from gish galloping on purpose. She would start with an untrue claim and then go to explain it, and it would sometimes be a long explanation. But it didn't seem like she was throwing out extra claims in that explanation. It seemed like it was just one explanation where it just started on the basis of an untrue claim. And I know normally in a one-on-one...
She spends a lot of time trying to frame up the untrue claim. So it's just that's all it is she's just doing as much as she can to world build around an untrue claim.
Right.
That's a good way of putting it.
I don't know if I'd call it gish galloping, but she's world building around an untrue claim.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Exactly, yes.
Look, I'm notorious for being exceedingly verbose. And if you got me going there and saying, okay, this is too verbose, then you got a problem.
Yeah,
right.
I don't know. I'm not this too embroiled in it all, so I tried to keep myself like mostly out unless something got like absurdly absurd. But I don't know.
All right, we're gonna watch this Mr. Girl VOD from I guess it's 2 days ago now, and go over it and see what the heck it was he said about the last conversation. So I'm gonna leave you all to it.
I got a question real quick. Is there any chance you get in trouble on Twitch for all the transphobic stuff that she's doing?
Nah, should be okay.
Though disavow.
I don't know. I mean, yeah, I disavowed a lot of stuff, but she didn't do any particular like attacks. I would say
she was misgendering you. She was misgendering Gami. She was she said that you were a man numerous times. Like
should be okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't. I mean, so I pushed back on it. So I think that someone in the call said something about like, I think you're fine. Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna drop off, guys. You all have a good morning.
Later.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Nice to meet you guys.